game one, and we got a variety of perspectives here on the desk. We have someone who cast the game yesterday. We have someone who was on the desk yesterday. I was at home in my pajamas. We've covered all possible angles.
Yours is the most valuable right now.
I think so. I would agree. And Jace was pretty powerful yesterday, and certainly in the hands of Chasy, so not surprised to see it banned away. Caitlyn, one of those bans where no one thinks you can actually play it, but they're going to ban it out of caution anyway.
It doesn't matter. Everyone just bans it against KOI regardless. It has been a staple every time KOI takes the stage, and not surprised to see it come through again. Curious to see if the Sylas comes through now as well for Mad Lions. That's kind of been the other big pick away from Larssen, but Ashe going to be taken off the board. Still have the Elise on the red side ban, so probably going to be going towards that.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a Sejuani first pick from KOI based on what we're seeing so far. Remember that Malrang can be very creative with his ganks. We've also got to take into consideration the Elise. We know that Malrang loves to go for these early playmaking junglers, something that can give him some agency and set up his laners for success. One of these two champions will be let through. The question is, which will Mad allow to go?
And I'm super excited to see what the bot lane is going to look like as well, because we saw Hilly bringing in things like the Nautilus yesterday that's now going to slip through the draft. That was such a big pick for Mad Lions and being able to set up these fights, getting success for Carzzy. So it still feels like there's a lot of power picks now. Elise, though, is going to be top tier and taken away immediately.
I think an easy first pick lock-in for the side of KOI. Pairs incredibly well with Malrang's explosive early game playstyle, but I'm curious to see what Mad Lions can do to shake things up on the red side. So far we've seen blue side heavily favored. You heard the Mad players talk about it in PGL yesterday, or the SK players rather talk about it in PGL yesterday, about why it is so incredibly good. Elyoya talked about it as well, and I think that it's going to be a puzzle that Mad Lions have to solve, because if you start game one on blue side or red side and blue side just keeps on winning, things don't look good for you as the day goes on.
Yeah, I'm also wondering about this Lucian Nami. Yesterday we saw it not win a lot.
Yeah, I'm wondering when people will stop picking it. Mostly Vedius.
Well, so my opinion on it is that it is strong, but it is no longer the safe blind pick that it used to be. I think teams have pretty reliably come up with a lot of good answers into the matchup now, and it seems to me that Mad Lions are saying we're quite happy to play Varus Nautilus into this matchup. So if you do go for the Lucian Nami, which it seems like they won't, instead we're going to be seeing the Kalista. The question is, will it be Kalista Soraka, Kalista Nautilus, Kalista Thresh? You never really know.
Talia?
Yeah.
Kalista support, like we see from Trymbi already. You know, we got it all here.
Just keep it going. Where can the Kalista go?
A lot of flexibility available, and KOI, they're going to keep that flexibility up. We expect this Tristana to be in the mid lane, that AD AP mid jungle duo that we so often see, but a lot of flexibility right now on both sides. Same can be said for Mad Lions. We've already seen that Gragas flex into the jungle, into mid lane, can of course also go top, potentially even support. So right now, no clear direction for either side.
I do like the hovers of the Zoe, though. It feels like if you want to go for poke Varus, poke Zoe, this could be an opportunity to play it. You got relatively short range here on the opposite side, but going to be taking that Karma into the bot side anyway to try and guarantee that push regardless.
Strong 2v2 on the bot side of the map for Mad. Now we think about bans. What do Mad think that Kalista is going to be? Should they ban supports? Should they ban AD carries? Because I had completely forgotten about the Kalista poor, and then the moment that you mentioned it, I'm like, oh, right, they could just put that Kalista in support.
I feel like you're going to be focusing mid lane, though. Larssen has been such a big focus point for KOI, whether it's on things like the Azir or the Sylas. I feel like getting them off those is going to be really important, especially since the Cassiopeia ban came through already. It feels like they're eyeing up something like the Sylas.
That's fair.
Could be looking to set that up, take some of those champions out of Nisqy's hands. For now, though, the Vi getting taken off the board. This is, of course, really just assuming or covering for the Gragas flex here. They're not worried about a Gragas jungle. They are, however, worried about a Vi, so they'll take the Vi off rather than banning out more mid lane options.
Which I'm surprised, because yesterday the Gragas was the answer that Elyoya went to into the Elise a lot of the time. So I kind of assumed Gragas was going to be going into the jungle, but maybe KOI know that there's something else up the sleeve, and that could be going to Chasy. But in my eyes, it kind of feels more like you're going to leave counterpick for Chasy towards the end of it, especially since we've kind of seen Chasy has been very good when he can bring out things like the Fiora and these kind of counter picks.
For Nectin ban.
Interesting. So not wanting to give Szygenda any kind of comfort on the top side. Chasy was a big factor in the wins yesterday, and I think has been showing up more and more in terms of individual laning prowess. So seeing what they want to get for him, potentially as a last pick counter pick or as a fourth pick blind here, could sway the draft in Mad Lions' favor.
Well, Cassante is what I was thinking of for Mad.
That's not the spicy counter pick.
Yeah, no. Well, I know, because we're looking at a Cassante or a Gnar for Chasy. Those are the most probable based on what he has been playing a lot of this split, and also just the direction that Mad Lions is likely to go towards, having that safe top side of the map. But they can just pick their mid laner right now, and they're going to do it. We're getting Gragas, Yasuo, mid jungle. This is hype.
It's a bagger.
Is explosive. Now, one of the big strengths of this duo, of course, is that just you always have kill threat. Even if you die once or twice early on, you always can have such an immense amount of kill threat because you can instantly let the Yasuo get onto the back line. That said, a lot of pressure onto Nisqy picking up this Yasuo because most of you are more used to the 0-10 Yasuo than the 10-0 Yasuo in your games at home. And I say in pro, I have a similar feeling. We rarely see Yasuos pop off in pro games.
Well, I mean, whenever I think of Yasuo in Europe, I always think of G2, you know? They used to flex that champion in multiple different roles. They used to play Yasuo Gragas bot. They would play Yasuo Gragas mid-jungle. I'm pretty sure there was a couple examples of them even playing the Yasuo top lane. Like, it was one of the few teams that was happy to play it, and getting to see it from Nisqy is definitely going to be exciting to see if he can pull off that level of coordination alongside Elyoya, as Leona is the final lock-in for KOI. So a powerful, strong set at bot side, which heavily suggests that KOI this game are looking to attack the bot lane.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, right? Especially when you can look at the Elise being able to play down that side. You got the Kalista, try and play for these early dragons and set up for a really strong mid game with the composition that you have at the moment. Especially if you're worried about that late game Yasuo coming online with the Gragas. And now a Sion to boot. You definitely want to hit the ground running here as KOI.
Picking some picks up from their series versus SK yesterday, and busting out the Sion, it did look pretty unstoppable. And when you take a look at KOI's composition overall, very early to mid-game focus. Now, the scaling range of a Tristana as we get later can be a big threat, but when you look at things like the Kalista, Leona, Elise, you're looking at early game. You're looking at packing a punch early on, but if the Sion can survive, he will be a terror in front-to-back team fighting.
The thing that I like about this Sion, that wasn't very good English, but the reason why I like this Sion...
It was just slow, but you got it. It wasn't bad English.
Mainly is because when you look at KOI's comp, a lot of range. I feel like that Tristana, Kalista in particular, have a lot of tools to keep you at arm's length and just kind of chip away at your health bar, especially when you have Varus, Yasuo being a primary damage dealers, not the easiest in terms of being able to get up close, but you throw a Sion in there, you've got the Gragas, you've got the bonus movement speed of the Karma. I think Matt did a good job of recognizing they need more ways to start fights, and now I think that they've got a lot of tools to actually start the fights that they want and get good 5v5s.
And I'm curious to see exactly what the plan is for the Varus. I feel like an on-hit Varus is probably needed here just to have that consistent damage. Otherwise, you're heavily reliant on this Yasuo popping off in fights to be your big consistent damage dealer. And it's nice when you have the combo with the Gragas, but I definitely think you need a bit more DPS to be coming through, especially with that big frontliner in the Sion.
Because I can tell you right now, KOI not lacking in damage. They've got it in spades all across the board, and I expect a lot of action to be happening in the early on the bot side. You already talked about it, Drakos. This bot side of the map seems to be the name of the game. We'll see which team can get that early advantage, as it's game one of KOI versus Mad.
Here we are onto the Rift. Larssen and Nisqy staring each other down as the rest of Mad potentially looking for a bit of a creative level 1 angle. As the playoffs and the best of threes before them have gone on, we've seen more and more of these aggressive level 1s, at least grouping as 5, maybe looking to lay down a bit of vision. Of course, range advantage for the Mad Lions bot lane in the first level can be big, but the threat of Allins, the threat of Malrang suddenly showing up in anybody's lane has to be on the back of the Mad Lions players' minds. And when we talk about this matchup, of course, we just naturally pay attention to the jungle. Elyoya, one of the most proficient junglers, more all-rounded, I think it's safe to say, whereas Malrang, people are still telling us they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure him out. He doesn't farm, he just ganks, and yet he keeps winning. So, see if he can do the same today.
And I think one of the big things that we've seen is when Malrang gets disrupted or when KOI aren't able to get these early leads through Malrang, it can go a bit sideways, especially if he's not able to play around Larssen. It feels like in this mid lane, that could also be an issue here. So I'm looking to see if Elyoya can have a similar impact to what we saw yesterday, which is linking up with Hilly, starting to get multi-man plays towards the mid lane, and just making KOI that little bit uncomfortable in these early stages.
I really think that Malrang, his style, as long as people said that they would try to figure it out, I feel like that the reality is everyone just conformed to his way of thinking. How many times this split have we just seen full one side of the map clear into gank, And like, that is so traditionally Malrang. It was so much about full clearing in the past, and obviously there have been jungle changes since then, but a lot more junglers in Europe seem to have adopted his style of trying to be more aggressive and looking for these early plays. We'll see what Elyoya tries to do in this early game. He's doing a full top side clear for the time being. We see Malrang doing the same on the bot side of the map, but of course there was that early ward placed as KOI is getting level 2.
Nice, level 2 instantly going to go in, forcing the cleanse out from Carzzy early on. Love the play there, Comp pulling the spears out to finish the minion to tick over to level 2 as they're walking up.
Because see, Malrang was hovering on that bottom side, still thinking of maybe going for something, but should just be able to get in here, get some vision down, and spot out Elyoya as well on the way out. But a big advantage here for Comp and Trymbi on that bot side, allowing them now to go way more aggressive. And I'm curious to see what happened that they lost the level 1 so early.
Ooh, nice trades there from Carzzy and Hylissang. The Mantra Q coming out from the Karma meant that that's a lot of chip damage. Should be a little harder for Malrang to contest this now with his bot lane being that much lower on HP, and Elyoya will be able to secure this smite, meaning that Malrang effectively just wasting a lot of time for the time being.
Yeah, in the meantime, of course, Larssen also gets to freely push in the mid lane as well. Likely that he would have gotten to do it anyway on the Tristana into the Yasuo, but just generating a little bit of a pressure advantage for the team as a whole. Hex Flash over the wall from Trymbi. They really want this Gromp.
I mean, it's one of those situations where Malrang saw Elyoya using the smite on the blue, so in his head he's like, well, you now don't have smite for the Gromp, which means that I can contest you and steal your Gromp. And what are you gonna? He's still there, by the way. Malrang still will secure the Scuttle Crab, and there is a world where he can get the double Scuttle. He knows exactly where Elyoya is right now. There's no reason not to just path straight through mid lane and look for something top. Maybe he can even hold the wave for his mid laner.
He's gonna fight Yasuo in the entire wave. He is cooking, and we have to respect it. He's going to lose about half his health for that, but because he has the red buff and because Elyoya is so far behind now on the clear at least, he's going to be able to grab Scuttle Crab.
Also got a completely free base then, right? Got to go back to base, spend some of that money, and he also caught the entire wave, and Malrang gets both crabs. And now he has his top side that he can fully clear. And the only real response from Elyoya is trying to steal away the enemy Raptors.
And it's going to get even more uncomfortable for Elyoya as well, because Larssen still has that push in mid. There's the opportunity for Malrang to continuously look for invades off that play, but Elyoya moving into the spot side now to get those Raptors will be spotted by Malrang, who doesn't care about his top side because they're still level 1, but the camps are higher level on the bot side.
Our whole point was he can go to top side and freely farm and hold on to this lead. No, he wants it all. He wants to concede nothing. He wants to give absolutely nothing to Elyoya at any opportunity. Elyoya, obviously experienced lead, but Malrang moving down to the bottom side once again. And, you know, we were ready when we looked at this matchup. Nisqy's been on a tear. Larssen has been a big carry threat to talk more about mid lane, but bot lane just seems to be the center of attention for both sides. And with a Kalista into a poke Varus lane, you kind of understand why.
My favorite story of Malrang is actually the one that Marcoon shared with us on Euphoria, where he was talking with, Marcoon was talking with Irrelevant, and he was just like, how come he cleared his full top side and then he ganked top again? There's no camps for him to take top. And then Marcoon's like, yeah, he can do that. This is Malrang. He will do various things like this. You just got to be ready. And he's just that type of jungler that, you know, conventional jungling, the typical pathing, min-maxing your farm, he doesn't care. It doesn't matter.
It's also just like when you don't play the role, you just take everything you hear as gospel. Like they have to go to the camps. You're like, okay, that makes sense. I'll believe that till I die, right? And someone doesn't do it, and you're like, but I thought I knew the rules. There are jungle rules,
but
right?
Look what Malrang's just done. He went through mid to try and dodge that ward that was placed on his Raptors. He will be spotted by that ward on the Dragon, but he was hoping that he can now create a surprise dive, but Elyoya is primed and ready.
Easy gank here if they want to try and turn this around onto Malrang. Should have the Bascon to try and get out of that, but Larssen already moving down as well to cover. And I thought this was something that Larssen did really well in their series against SK, was just constantly using his pressure, leaning down towards the bot side and letting Comp and Trymbi bully their opposition. And it feels like we're going to see a fairly similar story here where Comp, well, maybe not in the best of spots here, but should be able to walk out of this stun.
Yeah, so a lot of aggressive trading here. Of course, one thing I want to call back to, not going to be a big issue now, the poke Varus, having the Comet early on is going to feel really good for a lot of these early lane trades. But as we get later, one of the potential weaknesses of the Mad Lion composition that we're going to have to track is the lack of a backline threat. You have excellent front-to-back when you have a Sion, but you don't have a backline DPS threat. The poke Varus not going to be the on-hit Varus, not going to have that sustained DPS. Something we're going to have to look out for is potentially a play on the bottom side. CC landing on Hylissang is just about everything. Easy kill pickup onto the support of Mad Lions.
I mean, Malrang's just been living in this bot side. Elyoya's been trying to match and hasn't been able to farm as much as he can because of that. But, I mean, this has just been so nice. Now Malrang gets that kill to the bot side. You get to continue punishing through this strong lane. And even if you want to try and bring Larssen down, you can start to look for these early dragons and set up for that strong mid game that KOI are looking for.
I'm convinced that his topside camps just haven't died yet. I don't think the Wolves hasn't even seen Malrang. He is confused right now. But as you rightly said, all this investment to the bot side of the map caught Hylissang completely unawares. He thought that he was safe alongside his jungler. He ends up losing his life. Now KOI find themselves with a very good 1k gold lead in the early game. Some of it coming from the top side of the map, where Szygenda is just getting advantages in the isolated 1v1, and that bot side of the map, now that Comp has secured first blood.
And it's very hard for Mad Lions to really try and turn this around, because Nisqy just doesn't have pressure in the mid lane, a presence in the mid lane to try and help out. In an all-in, KOI just winning a 3v3 in the bot side as well. So you just get to keep going in the bot side for KOI. And I feel like you're just going to see it again and again. I mean, Malrang still just says, screw the top side. I'm just going to stay in the bot lane. I mean, Scuttle Crab is essentially a 4th camp down here as long as it gets the spawn down there.
I feel bad for these wolves. They like maybe saw Malrang at 50 seconds. He said, I'm going to go out.
Why do you feel bad?
I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out and get the milk. I'll be back soon. Malrang just never came home, guys. These wolves are wondering, you know, where did their jungler go? They have a role. They just don't understand. Nisqy getting aggressive here. Not going to opt for the ultimate on the back of that one, but important to note, Elyoya now 6. This is where the kill pressure begins for the mid lane, and Larssen immediately flashing out.
You have to. Really good respect there from Larssen. Malrang, though, looking to catch Elyoya out.
Still has not killed the wolves.
Doesn't care. Sion ultimate.
Going in. What goes up must come down, but Malrang on the way out. Blast Cone here. Nice escape coming in from Malrang. It looks like Mad Lions trying to hold on to top side.
Everyone's here, Drakos.
Tornado ready to go. Yasuo still has the ultimate, fishing for Malrang, but the Herald is not taking a lot of damage.
See, this is why Malrang doesn't go top. Look what happens. The second he goes top, everyone gets in his face, but now he needs to get on towards this Rift Herald.
Lower and lower. 50-50 Malrang now flashing in. They're trying to finish the Herald as quickly as they can. Who is able to grab it in the end? Nisqy immediately going in onto Malrang. He goes up, he's burning, he's ticking, and he will finally fall. It is a massive fight. Trymbi thrown into the waiting arms of the Mad Lions. Still on the backside, though. Varus, can he be the difference maker? Carzzy, can he be enough? But he is not. At the end of the day, it is Trymbi still stepping forward. Larssen looking for the resets. He has the red buff. Chasy trying to body block as the zombie Sion, but it is an absolute slaughter around the Herald. One last arrow from Carzzy. Not going to be there. The wave crashing in. Carzzy, a last desperate stand here underneath the tower, but Larssen with the red buff already ticking down, already going to get the jump reset, can just go right back in, but he doesn't even need it. Massive exchange in the favor of KOI.
And it was delayed, but it was an ace for KOI at 9 minutes into the game. Elyoya will get a single kill back, but what a massive fight for KOI. The Herald was secured by Chasy in the midst of that chaos, but the way in which they use their range, KOI, they play patient, they take their time, and look at how Szygenda starts off this fight, focusing down, chain CCing the Gragas. Nisqy can't really do anything as the jungler for Mad is completely mitigated from having any impact.
And Carzzy can't really get much damage off in this fight as well. Szygenda's playing up in his face. Trymbi now starts to step forward. And any sort of wayward CC means that he will end up falling to the likes of Larssen and Comp. So really nice job here on the target selection from Trymbi and from Szygenda, just keeping the Mad Lions DPS champions at bay.
KOI just played the fight patiently, they played it calm, they played it clean, and while they didn't secure the Herald, they found themselves with 5 kills in the early game.
I mean, 3 kills onto the Tristana as well. Absolutely insane. The fact that now Larssen just gets to pretty far up, but Malrang.
Knock up, immediately trying to lock down Malrang. Is he going to have time to go into the air? Going golden, buying a brief moment. Larssen here as well, maybe going to look for the knockback. Tornado will not connect Malrang. Surely there's no way he survives this one. Turning it back, Nisqy now having to flash out to safety. Larssen looking for the reset. Larssen looking for one more, he gets it. Oh, he can just keep going. Waiting for the body slam, sidesteps it, it's clean. Gets away from the Sion as well. Larssen can jump out to safety, but he's not done. He wants more kills. He gets the double. He gets the reset. Mad will walk away empty-handed. Larssen, a god in the mid lane.
Larssen is styling on them, but Trymbi will end up going down for his efforts. Still, so many kills to the mid laner of KOI. And how the hell do you try and stop this Tristana right now?
Beautiful play from Larssen as he's able to navigate his way through a massive collapse from Mad. Malrang, the initial target here from Mad Lions, he gets chain CC'd, but they don't quite have the damage to get that full execute. So he drops the stopwatch, he's going to use the repel, the exhaust comes down. At this point, Larssen is just doing what damage that he can. Props to Malrang, able to land that bite just before he dies to give Larssen enough damage to secure that kill. Then he recognizes the Sion coming, he sidesteps it, the flash out from Elyoya recognizing that Trymbi's coming down, then Larssen with the W bounces back in, KOI looking for more.
Carzzy's going to be in trouble now. Malrang should just be able to walk that kill down. This is a slaughter in game 1. There was about a 1k gold lead built on individual laning prowess earlier on, but now on the back of that Herald fight, it has been getting harder and harder for the Mad Lions. 4k in the favor of KOI.
Broxah sweating a little bit backstage with that 3-0 prediction for Mad, because KOI have come out fighting here. This is still more pressure down towards the bottom side though. Malrang going to start up the Dragon, has pushing mid, pushing bot side as well, so should be relatively undisturbed as he goes for this.
KOI doing an incredible job here in game 1. Of course, the advantage of being able to go through that upper bracket meant that you had the entire day to watch Mad Lions, prepare for them coming into today. And it feels like the KOI have come in with a very clear game plan. We expected them to try and snowball through the bot side of the map. They were able to find a pick. They were able to get small advantages, but really that big fight around the Herald is where KOI have blown open this game.
And I'm actually surprised to see the game plan from Mad. I thought Nisqy roaming yesterday was so good for them. Setting them on the back foot here, going for the Yasuo. It's cool to see, but it does feel like you're now hindering yourself in that you don't get those roams from Nisqy to try and help support that early game that was so strong yesterday against SK.
I think one of the challenges that I can see for Mad Lions is their ability to get good fights. We talked about it in the draft and how they drafted both the Gragas and the Sion to give them tools to actually start off these fights, because when you are relying on a Yasuo to be a big contributor for the damage, you need to actually get him in range of 2 AD carries. But in that last fight, we saw how the Gragas was just chain CC'd. There was no reliable engage from Mad. They were collapsed on by KOI, and that resulted in their downfall. We'll see, there's still more fights to go. We know that Yasuo's in the late game can do some crazy stuff, and I'm not going to completely count Mad out just yet. But with the deficit that they find themselves in, KOI's in a commanding position.
Engage going in, knocking Malrang back into the tower is going to be big, good damage. Malrang holding on to the E as long as possible. We're going to repel now, has to go back, flash over the wall to get away from Hylissang. Ticking as the ignite burns. Nisqy now going to look for the kill. Who are they going to give it to? Malrang is dead. Just about donating the right kill now. They're going to give it to Elyoya.
Trymbi falls underneath the tower as well. He'd nowhere to go. So at least Mad reacting well to the plays that are trying to be set up on this bottom side. It's kind of a bit of a consolation prize. You're still seeing a 2k gold lead in the mid lane, nearly a 2k gold lead in the bottom side, and a big wave loss to the tower as well.
Remember that by dragging Nisqy down to the bot lane to assist in what was this play from KOI means that Larssen gets to open up on this mid lane tower. Another plate secured for him. Very close to securing that tower.
Larssen trying to finish it, but has he stuck around for too long? Nope, has the rocket jump. No ulti available for Carzzy off the back of that previous play, so does just get to walk away scot-free, and mid lane tower should fall shortly here. This is big for the side of KOI. Malrang going to have so many more avenues to attack once this mid lane tier 1 is taken out.
The problem for Mad Lions as well is that KOI are going to be so strong in these side lanes. Larssen going to be able to do a lot of damage to these turrets. Szygenda's already got that advantage against Chasy and nearly has that top lane tower down, so Larssen forced to back away, but as long as you're able to stick comp in towards the mid lane, he farms it up. It feels like these side lane towers aren't going to be very long standing.
Gentlemen, I want you to cast your mind back to 2021, when Mad Lions were winning, when they reverse swept KOI, Rogue at the time. It was all late game team fights. It was strong early games from Rogue every single game, with Mad turning it around in an instant on the back of strong team fighting picks. Now they have some strong team fighting picks here.
The good old Rogue time.
The good old Rogue time. But we haven't seen a lot of Rogue time this season.
True.
And Mad Lions are going to need to dig deep, because Sion, great pick for teamfights, but it is not the Arma Nar Wukong of eras past. It's not quite that impactful, so Mad Lions going to have to get creative in these fights if they want to find the edge, because right now KOI have a pretty straightforward game plan. It's, we're winning everywhere, just keep winning.
Just keep winning. Often an underlooked game plan, I feel. Just win everywhere into win, you know. But KOI, an early adopter, I would say, of the strategy here in this series.
They like generally when they start winning to keep winning.
Yeah.
You know, unconventional.
Yeah, I would agree.
To say the least.
But Larssen really the big driving force behind that right now. 2.3k is his gold advantage over Nisqy. But comp, no slouch either. 2.1k, with the 2.1k being matched by Szygenda in the top side of the map. These carries are coming up big in game 1, 16 minutes in. And you can't help but feel like that this game is done and dusted. We'll see if Mad Lions can make any miracle fight happen, because KOI aren't the team to necessarily explode the game open. They're not going to perma-dive you. They're going to take their time. They're going to slow, control the game, deny all the vision, and just work their way one step at a time through all of these neutral objectives.
And they love making plays like this as well, where they're kind of like, okay, we'll push mid and immediately just overload one side of the map. And you can already see them putting that heavy focus around Larssen, since he is that big source of damage for them. And they've already got that top turret and mid turret down. So it makes sense for them now to just keep applying this pressure and made it until the next dragon. You get your quick reset, get your second items in for Larssen and comp, and just continue putting this pressure down.
And I think one of the big issues for Mad right now is that I don't think they can match any of the damage threats 1v1. Like, I don't think Yasuo can fight the... Like, maybe if Yasuo has the setup, but it's just so hard for them to actually match and get anything done in side lane, so they maybe have to try to overload on one side and try to find a pick, but with mid lane already broken, as you highlighted, there's just less and less room for them to play. The good news is, KOI have snowballed this game so fast that there's not a big Baron to play for yet. It's going to take some time before they can really go for more.
That is a bright side.
There's a silverest of linings.
Yeah, the silver, I mean, maybe even a bronze lining at that point. I don't even know if that's a silver lining.
That's
but
like when Ionacast once said, look at the bright side of this 6-item Riven. She can't buy any more items.
all I'm saying is, I wish you hadn't said that because I was ready to use that line. We're not there yet. It's going to take some time. But, okay, actual bright side.
Yeah.
Yasuo has some of the most 1 and 2 item, most disgusting 1 and 2 item scaling in the game because of how he synergizes with attack speed and crit. 1 item is now completed. Presumably Infinity Edge will come next. Downside, he'll never kill Szygenda, ever, in this game. Bright side, Larssen or Comp misstep, he could kill either of them.
On a good note as well, I think Mad are doing the right thing here, which is, look, forgo Dragon. We don't have a living chance in hell of picking this up. Let's see if we can use the Rift Tower that we have and make a play on the opposite side of the map. But I think they're a bit slow on moving up towards this top side. Szygenda now in a position, and they're going to use it on mid lane, but they could just have KOI collapse here.
Siege in the mid lane, fully committing a lot of resources. Malrang just hovering off to the side. It's gonna do good damage. That's about it.
So this is another big problem with Mad's comp when it comes to their range specifically. You saw how they tried to approach that tower. Carzzy's really the only one that can hit it, but that also means that Leona, E, Q, ult has the Kalista ultimate to drag her back in and then potentially go for the re-engage. If you overstep, KOI have the tools to be able to force that fight and have a fight go on their terms. So it's pretty much difficult across the board for Mad. And now they find themselves being pressured once again. KOI, they've abandoned mid for now, but you can already see Comp making his way down towards the mid lane to catch that wave, and they're evenly distributing this farm very well. Malrang, again, abandoning his top side because he's realized that the enemy jungle is now up for grabs, and he can start taking that away.
He and those wolves have a very close relationship, and he just does not want to see them fall. You know what I mean? He like watched...
No, I get it.
Princess Mononoke recently. He saw the big wolf, and he's like, I can't do it.
He's running around with his little new pet saying, this could be you. If you're really not, you could join me. You could leave the nest.
It's really a morality thing.
Yeah.
It's actually just, yeah.
I understand Malrang. I get it. And you know, that when he did actually when he killed Blue, he killed Blue, Gromp, left the wolves up. This guy.
Wow.
What a legend.
A hero to all animals.
That, a true humanitarian.
Look, again, ignoring them, killing the Blue.
I don't know how that works. English is hard today, man. Anyway, Malrang finally taking Blue. Will again, as highlighted previously, ignore the wolf.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of the Finding Nemo. You know, fish are friends, not food.
yeah, wolves are friends, not food. There you go. We've learned the Malrang mantra. Only his wolves, though. I'm pretty sure he's stolen Yo-Yo's wolves at this point. Larssen.
The Angry Bee has come out. Nisqy suggesting that he's looking for a play. Hylissang will pop the Shurelya's.
Early rocket jump, that's big, because even if you input buffer, Yasuo's going to hit you with that as soon as you're knocked up, and you are going to get locked down.
I keep talking about this, but look, he killed Gromp, left wolves. He's got enemy raptors, those are mine. Let's have a look. Does have vision on them, Elyoya. Malrang does have the smite, but he's not going to commit to here, or is he?
Sometimes in casting, when a game is one-sided but also slow, we invent minigames.
Yeah.
Today's minigame, this game 1 minigame, is will Malrang ever kill the wolves? More importantly, will Comp betray Malrang's vows and kill the wolves?
Yeah, don't do that, Larssen. That's right. Okay, he's gonna walk past them. That's fine.
Those wolves are sacred.
I'm all here for week 6 wolf watching today. This is great.
I miss Discovery Channel. You know, you got Shark Week. Other place you got Wolf Week. In the LEC, it's Wolf Week.
Here we see the wolves in their natural habitat.
You went for that. I wasn't convinced I could pull it off.
Andy Attenborough.
I reckon an Irish Attenborough could work.
Irish Attenborough could.
I would actually love that. You know what I mean? I think,
just not for me. I'm not going to be able to do that.
The Irish would be so good at doing a nature documentary. You have a wonderful accent, Dagda.
Thank you.
It's like a
We have a Hector O'Hoonigan who did a TV show which was all just basically in Irish, just doing wildlife, doing a bit of everything, which was fantastic, but no one in the country understands Irish, which very quickly meant that we kind of limited the viewer base.
You can just say it's really good and then, you know, pretend like you understood it. Like, nah, man, it was really deep. You wouldn't get it yet.
It's like an Irish thing, you know?
Yeah, an Irish thing.
It's great.
All right. Well, okay, I'm going to say a couple. Obviously, we are in a very high-stakes match, and I think Mad, it's in their best interest
game 1,
to stall and hold.
Series,
it is game 1, and we know, again, red side is a puzzle that someone is going to have to figure out, because blue side is clearly looking very strong. The Elise first prio looking very good, paying off for KOI in this game. And now, They could just take an uncontested Baron. Elyoya waiting off to the side, but Trymbi
There's a bit
in
of a
the area.
standoff here. Trymbi knows where Elyoya is.
100-meter dash. Can he get over the wall? Looking for the lockdown. He cannot. He was into a Kalista anyway, so it's going to be hard. So he's going to get pulled right back out. KOI, perfect Baron. Absolutely flawless. Nobody goes down. All 5 members are able to grab it. And Hylissang might die in the process. Larssen, hungry for blood. He gets one. He's going to keep going. No. He's holding back.
Larssen even flashed to secure that kill onto Hylissang. And with this Baron, KOI, they could look to just start pressuring the base. Of course, the Dragon is spawning in about 15 seconds. Maybe they just leave Comp to go and secure that himself, as Larssen, the siege machine that he is on this Tristana, looking to break down his first turret.
They are 10k up, and the only wave clear on that team is a Gragas barrel and a Varus arrow. This should be a pretty solid Baron for KOI.
It's the fact that they have the Demolish on Larssen as well makes it so quick to get through this. So already, they don't care about the Dragon. They're just going to immediately try and push down towards this bottom side as well. Comp has already prepped that wave and see just how many of these turrets they can get down with the Baron.
Bulldozer that is Larssen making his way to bot lane now. Will be offering some support for Comp. They realize for the time being that they don't want to go for this fight as Mad are a 5-stack. The TP is available for Szygenda.
Flashing forward. He's going to commit. He's fully committing. The team now going to follow up, but they're just going to burn through the Yasuo wind wall, blocking the follow-up damage. Trymbi now going to be in trouble, but no, the spears are pulled out, and down he goes. KOI simply too far ahead. Mad Lions, no more gas in the tank, running out of options fast.
A desperation play. Mad Lions realized that this game is done and dusted, and they thought that maybe they could catch Larssen off guard. He didn't even need to use the exhaust. The damage was more than enough, and now KOI have everything that they need to break through the walls that are Mad's base.
I mean, they don't even need the jungler here. They're all just going through. Chasy going to be trying to play front line.
Well, ooh, nice buffer. Leona able to get that one. Keeping the kills going here on the backside. Mad Lions looking to fish for something back. Larssen on the way out. Szygenda in trouble here as zombie Chasy looks for the chase. Will not find anything, however. Larssen going to get a single cheeky zombie auto on him before killing Hylissang again. Maybe. No. He will survive.
Careful, Hilly!
Oh! Good guy, Hilly. You know what I mean? I was just wrong. That was just bad casting. Hilly looking out for me.
Well, yeah, he just wants to make sure instead of the 0-10, we get the 10-0 coming through on the opposite side. You know, he's just been a nice guy.
Comp? No! Comp! No!
No! Comp! No!
No! Oh! Sad day. But nature must take its course.
There's nothing to fear. I have to stop for legality concerns, not because I'm a bad singer. It was not because I'm a bad singer.
Don't put the camera on us. It's too painful. Put the camera away.
They live such good lives.
Such good lives.
Two-headed wolves aren't supposed to live that long, you know? It's a
Get
difficult...
him, man. Kill Comp. I mean, in-game. Not the personal Comp, but what you did to those wolves.
Yeah. I mean, it is personal because it was you who personally killed the wolves.
Yeah,
but, you
a
know,
little personal.
But, like, outside of the game, not personal.
Oh, Mad in danger right now. Malrang
Lions
threatening a dive.
Backing up. Larssen is just going to ignore this Sion and kill the tower in his face. Nope, he wants more kills. Oh, good knockup. Nisqy not going to take the ult, but he will take that one. Massive shutdown. Surely Tristana falls.
Ooh,
yeah,
Larssen.
now we're talking silver linings. No more bronze linings for Mad Lions. That is a fatty shutdown.
Larssen getting a little bit overconfident there. The W did get interrupted by Chasy. And then with the follow-up ultimate and no flash, Larssen was chain CC'd, giving that kill over to Carzzy. Now, the good news for KOI is that they still are really fast.
Only 11k to go, baby. It's nerdy there, getting shorter.
So KOI find themselves another tower, and the Dragon, well, it's still 3 minutes away, so if nothing else, this will buy time for Mad. They're looking for a pick onto Comp.
Comp's trying to style right now. Sidestep on the body slam. It is impossible to lock down a Kalista, who has Cleanse, who is this far ahead. She's going to kill everybody. Comp going to keep it going. Chasy desperate to turn this one back, but again, they cannot kill Comp. He is going to keep walking at them, and they will eventually die. Comp killing everybody, beating them down with their wallets. KOI coming through clutch. A single kill over to the side of the Mad Lions, but this very well could be game for KOI.
It's certainly looking like it. Comp really putting on the fancy feet in that last skirmish. 27 minutes in, or getting close to rather, and KOI are looking to round out game one. A convincing game, pretty much from start to finish. KOI looking to start off this series strong.
I mean, great early game from them, following through. Super minions pushing in the bot side. Jaycee and Nisqy trying to see what they can do, but it feels like they're not going to be able to... Well, actually, maybe they can hold on.
KOI not going to base, right? Szygenda has TP, so maybe just a quick reset. Ulti comes through.
Here we go. Here comes the paint train. It will not connect on anybody. There is no knock up here. The Gragas now finally getting knocked back. Windwall going to block a little bit of damage here. Chasy off to the backside immediately. Yasuo right into the back line, but he has no health. He has no damage. He has no impact in this game. Big pullback coming in as comp goes godlike. Hylissang will fall once again, and this is just a slaughter in the base of Mad Lions. Early to mid-game, KOI built up an insurmountable lead, and now we're seeing it finally come to fruition here as Mad Lions have nothing left. Larssen going to style for a few more kills, but game one from start to finish in the favor of KOI here in the best of 5.
I don't know which was the biggest massacre, the Wolves or Mad Lions getting absolutely slaughtered by KOI here. But really good stuff from KOI. I mean, the fact that they're coming in this strong already, I mean, good start for them.
Yeah. And again, I think just incredible credit that they were able to build that big of a lead, that they were able to shut down. It really does feel like it all goes back to that Herald fight, but it does take diligence against a Gragas Yasuo combo not to give up kills, not to throw away a lead. Because when we saw this composition or this combo in the meta previously, teams would get a little overconfident because they're up 1 or 2 kills. They would lose those kills. Yasuo would get ahead with the Gragas, and the game became unplayable. But KOI not falling into that trap.
And, you know, we had a bit of a joke about the fact that Larssen did get caught out in mid lane, but the man was 9-0 up until that point. An incredible performance from the mid laner of KOI, and a performance that I think he really wanted to demonstrate, because when we think back to last week against G2, it really felt like G2 series, KOI's early game was consistently being put down, and then the start of this series looking this convincing. Mad are going to have to go back to the drawing board to figure out what they can do in game 2 versus KOI.
Especially on the bottom side of the map. I don't know what happened in the level 1 that you don't get the push as Varus and Karma into the Kalista and the Leona. The fact that they managed to get the level 2, immediately blow a summoner spell, and then just follow up. It was really good stuff from the bot side as well. So across the board, big advantages in lanes. And I mean, Mad Lions now have to, as you say, go back and try and figure out what they can actually bring to the table that they can combat this.
And pretty easy guess that they're going to opt to swap for blue side. It feels like teams are just much more comfortable in that in the meta. It is now KOI's opportunity to try to break red side, to try to show us more, and we'll see what they can do it for now. Broxah standing by at the telestrator to show us something special.
Thank you, Drakos. Now, let's have a look at how Matt was trying to track Malrang in his early clear. A lot of us, I'm sure, have a hard time playing versus Elise in the jungle, in solo queue. And now, with the help of Mad Lions, we can find out how to track it, how to, you know, take control of the spider and make sure she doesn't go on a rampage. So, here in a moment, we're gonna have the clip and we're gonna look at what they did to stop the spider. Now, we can roll the clip here, and the first thing is that we're gonna see Nisqy on the Yasuo move in to put a ward on the enemy Raptors. This ward is going to give Mad Lions a lot of information on what Malrang is going to be doing for the first 3 minutes of the game. At the same time, we can see Elyoya in the top side, halving down, knowing that there's not going to be, you know, any action in the top lane because it's a tank matchup. It's just Sion versus Szygenda. So he moves down, puts the ward in the pixel bush to cover for himself, wilding blue buff. Nisqy hovers down, makes sure that Elyoya is safe. In the same moment, we saw Carzzy warding over the bot lane wall to spot where Malrang is at all times. This way, Malrang hasn't been able to do anything. Sure, he got the crab eventually with the prio from his Tristana mid lane, from his bot lane move, but the Gragas was able to farm safely. Now, sure, Malrang is happy he gets the double crab, but he moves back to the bot side. He still wants to look for some action, but Elyoya, of course, he's still ready. So he moves right in, puts the ward on the Raptor camp, on the respawn, and now he's like, well, my job here is done. I can base. Malrang is not going to do anything, but then after Malrang bases, he moves immediately into the river, goes for the opportunity. Elyoya is there, but it doesn't matter. And in short, yeah, I guess I actually can't help you stopping those Elises in solo queue. There's no counterplay, there's nothing to be done, at least if Malrang is the one controlling the spider. That's it from here. Back to you, Shucks, at the desk.
Thank you so much. I love that. We're going to learn, but then turns out if it's Malrang, it's
maybe we need to tweak the jungle experience in camps time a little bit, and then, you know, that's going to be worth it.
Here's what happened. The camps respawn so quickly, and with the conservation mechanic, you only have to farm one side of your jungle. That's what Malrang did. He farmed bot side and crabs, and that's it. And enemy champions.
And Mad Lions could have well put that gold for the wards in the bin.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. Let's take a look at the draft. And we talked so much about what the approach could be out of Mad starting on the red side. And turns out they were like, well, we'll play Yasuo. And again, we'll play Gragas. But this time he won't go mid. We'll put him in the jungle.
I'll be honest. I looked at this and I thought, you know what, Mad Lions? Grats. That's going to be game 1. Because it's so early game focused on KOI's side, right? Cassandra against Sion. Well, Sion's just going to be fine in that matchup. Outscale down on the bot side with the Varus and the Kalista. And sure, you have the Tristana in the mid lane that can take agency in the early game, but the win wall and the Gragas combo together paired up with the Yasuo, it's just going to be so difficult to play against in the mid to late game. But I mean, that just never happened, did it?
Yeah, no, it didn't. I mean, like, continuing the good things as well, the Sion versus double AD carry is, like, super easy in the itemization department. Like, the scaling is definitely going to be there. So I think, like, as far as, like, tracking the Elise early went, like, I was, like, all on board. I'm like, okay, Malrang didn't get an early dive off. Even the one kill was like, okay, that's, like, not too much going awry. I thought Mad Lions were still in a very good position. And overall, looking at this red side draft, like, this was a good look for Mad Lions. I think that yesterday, the conversation around, like, blue-red side was maybe a little bit overblown. I know blue side won every game.
They haven't won yet on red, so what can I tell you?
Mad Lions straight up trolled their drafts on the red side. They're playing casted and Vi mid-jungle 2v2. That's not a great look. In game 4, I think they were getting outskilled in like every single lane when the Aphelios Lulu came in on the opposite side, and they also were playing against Elise. They're getting outscaled versus a better early game jungler. Like, it's just not a good time for them.
Well, Matt picked blue, so you're wrong. It was actually the red side.
Yeah, I know. Calm down. Okay, hold on.
I'm kidding.
I have to defend my honor here because blue side is better. But I think Mad Lions finally put themselves in a good position. It was a shame they threw it all away.
Okay, good point. They didn't put themselves in a good position in any of the fights in the early to mid game, and there wasn't even a late game. So Goldberg set up this 9-minute fight for me around the Herald, and yes, Mad will obviously have made mistakes, but KOI, they did something right?
Yeah, I mean, I think KOI fully understood the situation. Let's move everyone off 5-man here, because if we take this fight and the surprise factor that comes with Malrang flashing in, it's great. I was just surprised to see that Mad Lions was up here taking this fight against the early game team.
Well, honestly, I don't think Mad Lions were heading into this expecting or even wanting a fight. You see how they had 5 players on Herald tier first. Their bot lane moving was 10 seconds faster than KOI's bot lane. The Herald was down to 1,000 HP when the KOI engage actually happened. I actually think they just misread how quickly they could do that with 5 members and get out of there as well, because the whole time they were positioning the fight, it looked like they were trying to kite away from that engage.
Yeah, and if I had to be the devil's advocate, I can see why Mad Lion can see this is good for them. You have the Yasuo Gragas, you're first on the objective, you feel like your vision control is good enough around the objective, you just wasn't ready for Malrang flashing over just with a cocoon, and then the follow-up from Trymbi with the Kalista as well. They just got out-team fought in a position where they could have gotten the chances, they could have rolled away with the game, but they didn't. And once you give over those kills to KOI that you didn't have to at the Herald fight initially, that's where KOI just completely runs away with the game.
It was wild because I felt like it was like Mad Lions making the initial plays, right?
Yes.
The call for the Herald fight around mid lane as well. And it's because, again, what they are very good at is using their priority to force a numbered fight. But KOI matched them so well, and here actually just outplayed. This fight in mid lane starts as just a pick attempt onto Malrang. But between the stopwatch and the repel, they couldn't actually get this one shot off, and it lets Larssen put down so much damage. Check that out. Larssen's down to 60%. Larsen's able to jump over, get the instant reset off the W, but even then, it's still KOI with Prio. The Sion's coming out of the top lane, but it does not matter when Larssen is just straight up outplaying you with the delay from
That's the thing as well, right? One thing is that the older CDs with the win wall no longer being available really lets the Tristana shine, but let's be real, the footwork on Larssen in that fight as well. I mean, it's beautiful. It's exactly what you want to see from your mid laner, and a complete outplay, as you said it.
The TLDR of this game is Mad Lions want to make a play. They think they have numbers, and KOI just straight up outplayed
It's
them.
not a big deal. Don't worry about it. It's like call an ambulance, but not for me. Yesterday, Vedius said on PGL.
My bad.
You got the zoom. You got to like guilt zoom.
Yeah, I know. It's messed up.
Yesterday, Vedius said on PGL after we watched those 5 games of SK versus Mad, he said that he thought maybe, I don't know, we had SK guests, so maybe that's why he said it, but I don't think so. He said, I feel like SK outfought Mad in many of the games, in most of the fights. Do you agree with that? And do you think that generally, in terms of both the mechanical prowess in the team fights as well as the timing and the engages, KOI just seems sharper?
I think that, yeah, KOI seemed sharper in these first 2 fights, especially Larssen right there. That was absolutely perfect. But I also think one thing that worked really well for Mad Lions yesterday in the fights was Hylissang on engage support, right? He played the Karma yesterday and they did win with it, but a lot of that was just like playing this heavy siege situations. I want to see him back on the melee. It was crazy that we saw Trymbi and Hilly swapping their usual roles from melee to range, and I want to see Hilly back on engage.
engage.
So Trymbi comes out on top because he swapped and he was successful. And it's
Easy.
not that Hyli has never played those champions, obviously, but I feel like we have this conversation about Hyli very often. When he's on a team and the game is just, we're like, put him back on the Nautilus, put him back on the Leona. That's what we want to see. We'll see what happens in Game 2 as Mad Lions move on to the blue side. We'll be right back with that one.
Guys, wait. Let them go into 5 there for now.
We go from here or what?
Yeah. And I get ult after 1 kill. We need to one-shot somebody, okay? And then we stomp, I think. Sion has no ult. I'm walking up. Okay, guys, we play for fight. We don't play...
Yeah.
Go.
Look on Gragas.
Yeah, Gragas goes Yasuo. First target.
I'm dead.
I think it's good. I think it's really good. Yeah.
Sion, no place.
I'm going.
Go, Sion. I have ult after the skill.
Nice.
Look on Karma, look on
Curve Sion.
I think it's still fine.
Yeah.
Hold on, place.
Tom? No! Single cheeky zombie auto on it before killing Hylissang again! Baby, no. He will survive.
Careful, Hyli!